Breaking news, guys. This is unbelievable. I don't know if you could even rationalize or wrap your head around this, but it's such breaking news that I forgot to even make a video about it yesterday. The San Francisco 49ers do not plan on firing Kyle Shanahan. Oh, wow. Earth-shattering. Groundbreaking. Who would have thought? It's funny. I didn't even post about it. I didn't even make a video on this. This is from Diana Rossini of The Athletic. I didn't because it's non-news to me. But if you are a person, a creator, a fan who has been shouting fire Kyle Shanahan for the entirety of the season, well, yes, then it will be news to you because you won't be able to rationalize, well, why aren't the 49ers firing Kyle? We were told at the beginning of the season if Kyle was to have a bad year, he would be fired. We were told that. Well, when you actually get out of your emotions and you start to objectively look at the situation through logical sense and through what firing Kyle actually entails, this wouldn't be a surprise to you. Because if you're firing Kyle, you're firing John Lynch. Both of them signed multi-year contract extensions at the beginning of 2023. That means Jed York not only would be moving on from the most success that he has ever had as an owner with a pairing of a GM and head coach, but he'd have to eat all that money. And then he would have to convince someone to be like, hey, yeah, they made it to 2 Super Bowls, won multiple NFC championship games. Don't worry about those guys. They're an outlier. You come work for me. And trust me, if you don't win the Super Bowl and like if you get to the Super Bowl and maybe it doesn't go your way, don't worry, you're not going to be fired. Literally, if Jed York were to fire Kyle and John for what they have done with this organization, it would be sending a message to the rest of the league that it doesn't matter how much success that you have in the postseason, getting to the Super Bowl. We all know it's not easy. We all know it's very difficult. And yes, they have won both those Super Bowls. They could have, and they collapsed in the fourth quarter, which is heartbreaking and it's painful. And it'll be something that sticks with us for a long time, which is, I think, where it drives a lot of the emotional takes with that is that, yes, we are heartbroken by some of the games and the losses under Kyle Shanahan. We have questions about how Kyle Shanahan has handled fourth quarters. We have questions of how he implements his scheme and implements his players sometimes. We have questions. Yes, that's valid. It's okay to look at Kyle and be like, there's things you can get better at. But what he's been able to show is that he is one of the most successful coaches in the NFL right now, regardless of all the critiques that he is valid for. So again, two things can be true at once. You can critique Kyle. I think this was one of Kyle's worst years as a coach, as a play caller. I don't think it was particularly great at all. And but at the end of the day, does that warrant him being fired? No, it doesn't. It doesn't at all. And it never has been. So that's why, I didn't report on it originally. I was just like, yeah, no, duh, he's not going to get fired. That'd be a ridiculous thought process to get fired. And then it was funny to watch the fire crowd switch to the trade crowd, thinking that that made them seem smarter because realizing that, oh, we're just going to fire this guy and get zero in return when he would probably be worth multiple first round picks, which again is another idiotic thought process. To then realize to trade Kyle, it requires his sign off. And Kyle already said he's not going anywhere. So, um, yeah, I think it's important to understand that us as 49er fans, we can get emotional. We can get upset with what we've seen. And it's really easy for people to take advantage of those emotions and kind of push you down a road that makes it seem like it would fix something, makes it seem like it would correct um, some of the mistakes that have been going on, but it's not. It's just taking advantage of you and your emotional state as a 49er fan. Logically, it never made sense. It never made sense to fire him, and then it never made sense to trade him. So, um, again, I can understand the emotions that come along with it. I can understand fans not being happy with Kyle. I can understand fans critiquing Kyle and believing Kyle needs to get better. Absolutely. I think Kyle needs to improve. I think Kyle needs to kind of uh re-engineer his offense a little bit. I didn't think it was super creative this season. Felt like defenses had his number. Felt like the protections need to be revamped and overhauled because defenses just took advantage of it all year. So yeah, there's plenty of things that I have critiques about and questions of that doesn't require me to say that Kyle needs to be fired. Also, when you look at the circumstances of this year, you look at the emotional letdown of the Super Bowl, all the offseason drama, the injuries that just piled up left and right, the off-field tragedy that had occurred. There's so many different elements. There's so many different aspects to this season of why it went wrong that it doesn't even all fall at Kyle's feet. Is Kyle responsible for a lot of it? Of course he is. But he's not responsible for off-field tragedy. He's not responsible for, you know, I don't believe he's responsible for the off-season contract negotiation stuff. That's a Parag Marate thing. So, um, yeah, there are plenty of things that he's responsible for, but I don't find those things that I just mentioned to be part of his responsibility. But I've also contributed into the unfortunate year that this team has had. So it's I guess I feel the need to make an update about it because clearly I feel strongly about it. I've had to answer these questions over and over again from fans who hop into my chat or fans who hop into my comments and say the 49ers should fire Kyle. And again, that is just an emotional response. It's not a logical response. It actually doesn't make sense if you sit down and you think about it a little bit because you have to fire everyone and restart from scratch. And there's absolutely zero guarantee that you even get to the playoffs with a completely new core, a completely new staff, um, new general manager, new nutritionists, like everyone's gone. New training staff, like everyone. So, and that still might be music to some people's ears, but in the real world, it just does not make sense. And if you disagree with me, feel free to let me know in the comments. If you agree with me, let me know as well. But the 49ers don't plan to fire Kyle anytime soon. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. And as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more updates.